I'm happy to introduce you to our today's keynote address, which will be presented by Gayatri Sarkar, devoted to the growth strategy for product development in the era of COVID-19. Gayatri, could you please introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. This is Gayatri. I'm a partner at Hype Capital. It's an Israeli VC fund. We are investing in post-seed rounds in TMT areas. My previous background is HP, IBM, worked for Goldman Sachs, Federal Reserve Bank. I had 2 startups. First was successful with asset under management around less than $50 million. And then I had a failed second startup, so obviously learned a lot. I also sold one of my fund and worked in a hedge fund, and an advisor in multiple companies in US, Europe, and Israel. And also part of many accelerators, helping many companies to build and scale in this time, and also investing in some cool companies.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. Please share your keynote address with us with the slideshow.
Sure. One second. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about growth strategy for product development in time of COVID-19. Obviously, you can use that as a tool, not just for COVID-19, but also in the time of certainty. But these are some of the effective ways you can build a product that matters the most, and that will be highly competitive, even when you're facing your incumbents or other amazing growing competitors you have. I'm going to use Lego as a case study, and the story of Lego, how they have come from where they were and where they are right now. We all have great childhood memories as Lego builders, alone in our houses. So we had this pure joy of building new things. That's what we know about Lego. But Lego as a company in 2004 faced bankruptcy. They were almost at the verge of bankruptcy. They had a $300 million loss. So they were failing in winning over their customers. And I will go through this, why they were failing. But now they're considered the most powerful brand in the world, overtaken Ferrari. So you know how Ferrari is some of the, adults. If you have a Ferrari, you totally value it. If you don't have a Ferrari, you want it, okay? So 2015, they surpassed Mattel, the largest toy maker, and their current revenue is 5.2 billion euros, only just in construction toys. So let's talk about how they failed so that we can learn from their strategies in product development. What they did is that they used very closed-door product development strategy with no feedback loop from consumers. And what do you mean by that? That means you are not asking your consumers what they like about your product. You just assume that this is what my consumers like, and I'm going to create a product in a closed door. This is all what used to be done long time ago. And they have a very centralized sales channel. That means they have all the sales companies, verticals within the companies, and what they do is that they go and approach executives, and they say that, hey, do you want to buy my product? And that's how the sales were done. That's a very top-heavy approach that they have taken. And that actually created a huge failure for them. And so how they changed their destiny, let's talk about that. They focused on one thing, that is one matrix that matters. If you understand the meaning of the word Lego, in Danish word, it comes as play well, okay? That means build. So they were literally built to build, right? So they had this amazing interlocking bricks, which had been used to give an idea to your imagination, okay? To create new products, to create ideas. And they were failing in that. because they were creating thousands of products that didn't matter to them, okay? And that didn't matter to their consumers, to their customers. So they're failing their base. And that is the most important thing that they did not realize. So the founder, what he did is that he cuts out 90% of their product strategy and focused on one product, that is bricks, the interlocking plastic bricks, where it will give an, literally a base to your imagination. So what we can learn about this, taking a little bit backstage, like why one matrix matters, if you are trying to create a product, whether it's in COVID-19 or even during the time of certainty, and you're keep on building multiple features, you're actually failing your customer. It's very important to understand what your customer wants, okay? And then you focus on that one matrix that's going to help you build an amazing product. So this is where I'm talking about, in a time of uncertainty, when you're building a product with high leverage, you're basically betting on certainty. You are having a higher burn rate. You have no path for monetization, higher churn rate, low ARR, which is annual revenue rate. What does it mean? So you are actually focusing on creating a company which is so fragile that is betting on certainty, it is betting on tranquility, that that everything, if goes as planned, we will be making a lot of money. And that's a failure. That's a sure success short of building a fragile company that will face major disruptions in the time of COVID-19, in the time of recession, in the time of depression. So when you're building a product with a high leverage, you are failing to understand that, okay, how can you cut down on your burn rate? Because you are focusing on, okay, we have a lot of money, we are able to raise a lot of money, and we can pump that money without following the iterative path of, okay, what are the tweakings we need to do in order to bring a lot of success? So that's where you're failing, having a very high burn rate. And that's why now you will see a lot of companies in this time, they are doing furloughs. Obviously, furloughs is right now, everybody's doing, but you'll find companies that have higher burn rate, they're actually failing, whether they're startups, middle market companies, or they are companies which has done IPO or about to do an IPO. Third thing is no path for monetization. That is, I think, is very important. If you are a startup, you're building a product and you are focusing on more on the success of growth, where you're not thinking about monetization, that's a problem. Okay. And now if you are a company which is in post-seed round, Series A, you're building product, but you have no path for profitability. You have path for monetization, but due to higher burn rate, you have no path for profitability. You are actually creating another sure shot of, failed or fragile company. Higher churn rate, that's something which is very important. A lot of companies at this point of time, they will be facing very high churn rate. And what do I mean by churn rate? That's the number of that you're unable to retain your consumers. Okay. So if you have a company that has been built on a product or a platform which people cannot use from their home, they have to go out to buy that product, you already be facing higher churn rate. Low ARR, that follows all this path. You are not having a great annual revenue rate. Because your focus had not been on the monetization, not been on the profitability. So I'm going to talk about some of the key elements for anti-fragile product growth architecture. And these are the elements that are used by Lego. One is decentralization of product community, agile product, interoperability, and promise market fit. These are the 4 key areas that I identified from the Lego case study. So first thing is decentralization of the product community. What did Lego do? So they first forget, they're like, okay, let's forget all the 90% of the so many product features, so many products that we have developed, so many product categories. Let's focus on one thing that matters, that is the bricks. Now, then they went out and found that there's an opportunity, we can crowdsource our venture. They created an open innovation policy through Lego Ideas portal. So what does that mean? They basically are taking user input to generate product ideas. They're basically creating a feedback loop to this decentralized product community. You're making your consumers your number one priority, okay? So previously, when I showed the picture of a child building a Lego, that's all of us in our childhood. But now things have changed. In all our houses, we have Lego products. We are building those products. So Lego found that community, which they failed to recognize. They're adults who are interested to build products. And it has nothing to do with obviously they have childhood memories in it, but it has nothing to do with the fact that they are missing an opportunity to do something else, but it has to do with the fact there is a category in the toy section that was only built for Lego, and nobody else came to fix that. Obviously, we can talk about Minecraft and others, but this is one category that Lego was successful. The Lego was built to retain its position, and they could not do it. So what they did is that they found those adult Lego builders. They built that decentralized community. They asked their community users, hey, can you come and give us feedback? Can you come and build that product? And that is a very important part. Decentralization of product community has come more into effect, obviously through internet, because internet has created a huge platform, where everybody can come and build, everybody can do things. You talk about YouTube, where people can come and create their own contents, okay? Another example is Uber. They have created a platform where anybody can be a taxi driver. They can share rides. So that's a huge example of taking consumer feedback and empowering your consumers, that they feel they are one with the product. The second part is agile product. Now, what do I mean by agile product? Because an agile product comes with a feedback loop from customers, okay? This is the feedback loop that comes directly from a decentralized product community. So what Lego did is that they built a rapid prototyping philosophy. That's what they think, that this is how they're going to advance. But in doing that, they only developed few key features that are needed, okay? They're developing things in smaller parts requiring less commitment. That's a very important thing. When you're doing a rapid prototyping philosophy principle, you cannot just go ahead and build 1,000 other features, because you're failing in your most important matrix. That is one matrix that matters. So you're developing key areas that requires less commitment, and you're getting immediate feedback. A typical engineering mistake is wanting to invent all the things the product might consist of in one go. Don't do that. If you are a company or startup at an early stage and you're like, okay, I'm going to build a perfect product, and then I'm going to go to market and I'm going to find my product market fit, my customer market fit, that's not going to happen. Build a small beta part of your product, take it to the market, and see what your consumers are going to say about it. Typically works for a company which is in Series A. If their product, one feature or one element that works great, now if you want to add a couple of other features, develop a very small part of it that requires less commitment, and try to get a feedback from your consumers, from your customers, and understand that how can you make that as a part of an architecture of your agile product building strategy. This is very, very important. Agility in pricing strategy. This is obviously works for mostly in the companies which has already developed the product and they're finding opportunities. What are my pricing strategies, or how my existing pricing strategies are working and not working, okay? Or if you are a company which is like, okay, my beta product is there, but I'm finding a ways to create a pricing strategy, this is also works for you. Consumer feedback is power, even in your pricing strategy, because when you are developing a product, which doesn't have a top-heavy approach. So you're not going through a sales channel in developing something, um, you know, um, uh, an opportunity to create or an organic growth. You're basically using a bottom approach, a bottom top approach, where consumers are enabling your services, where consumers are saying that, okay, I like this product, okay, and I think I'm gonna use it. So give some premiums for them. And it's like, okay, and maybe I can ask my friend John also to use this product. And then we can ask our team to use this product. In doing so, you're enabling a pricing strategy where you, with a small freemium, you are hooking up the customers to something that they can fall in love with. And then you have your strategy in organic growth buildup, where people can find opportunities that, okay, I can buy this particular product for my team because I'm spending a little bit, but I'm getting so much more, and my team is falling in love with it. So monetization from the go is the new go-to-market strategy. If you're a new company and developing just new product, you need to make sure you find that monetization. There are a lot of companies that we are seeing which are capital intensive, companies that requires more money from their investors. Those are the companies will be suffering in this situation. Obviously, if you're planning to raise $100 million or $10 million or $1 million, you define that idea, I cannot raise 100 million. Maybe you can raise 50. So in that situation, you need to balance the monetization plan. And that will be your first opportunity. The moment you create your product architecture, within the architecture, you should build your monetization strategy. How your freemium will be used to hook the customers, and how your other product pricing strategies will be used to bring other consumers into your product. So continuously assessing your pricing strategy is very, very important. You need to understand, this is obviously for growth stage companies. So if your pricing strategy worked pretty well pre-COVID-19 and now it's not working, you need to assess that. So don't leave money on the table. Why I'm saying don't leave money on the table, because one size doesn't fit all. If you had been using a certain pricing strategy in pre-COVID-19 and that worked for you, that's great. But if it's not working now, you need to assess. And this is not just in the crisis, but also during the bull market, also during the time of certainty. You need to continuously assess your pricing strategy and see how can you gain more consumers, or how can you create opportunities to create more market value, or some of the market segments that you thought never a part of your customer categorization and other things. There are a lot of companies that done that, like GitHub. They decided that they wanted to reach other markets. They created premium products. So you need to understand how your monetization can help you in assessing your pricing strategy so that you don't leave money on the table. The third thing that I'm going to talk about is interoperability. This is a very important feature, okay? Obviously, people talk a lot about interoperability during the time of blockchain crypto, because there are so many crypto products that are out there in the market. They don't work with others. Okay, so if you want to use my crypto product, it has to be mine because it doesn't go with other crypto products. So I will again go back to the story of Lego. Okay, so what Lego did is that they did not build another toy, but they did a system of play. Okay, that is very, very important. And that's what interoperability is, that your product can work with other systems. As you engage consumers to buy more, they see multiplication of opportunities. So these opportunities are not just for you, but also for consumers. They should be excited for this interoperable opportunities. There's so many great products that are out there in the market. I'll give an example, which is Calendly, which works with any other emails, okay? If you have built a calendar scheduling structure that only work with certain emails and doesn't work with other emails, it will be a problem. Think about Androids, think about any other products, or Slack. there are so many products that are built with interoperable structure. So this is built as an inherent part of their product architecture. So ability to share information and services built into your product architecture requirement. That is what I'm talking about. That's what interoperability is. How do you work well with others? That's a very easier way to say what interoperability stands for, right? Learning through adoption, okay? Whether it's in COVID-19 crisis or recession or depression, you need to adopt to the market. You need to understand what is working, what is not working for your product. Staying relevant in the crisis. This is also very important. In a time like this, if you think there is a huge churn rate, I'm not able to gain my ARR, I'm having a problem, even building the product or taking the product in the market, you need to find out opportunities to stay relevant in this crisis. If you are unable to build your product because you don't have enough money, you're unable to raise, talk about your product, talk about your idea. How do you think? What do you feel? What are you creating? How your new market behavior is going to help in the current social behavior, existing social behavior, or the upcoming change that are coming in the social behavior. Create partnership with companies that are enabling new market behavior, especially in this crisis. So if you have a product that has helped in the time of certainty, in the time of tranquility, but currently you're facing crisis, then what you need to do is that you need to find those amazing companies that are surviving, okay, that are doing great things, that are actually, you're seeing their revenues are booming. So they are enabling this new market behavior. And why do I say that? Because there's a change in our social behavior, how we interact with products, how we buy our products, the consumer mindset has changed. And in this new market behavior, these companies are enablers. And you need to find ways to create partnership. But that doesn't mean, why I'm saying is that my last point is not all growth is success, okay? It doesn't mean that you have to change who you are. You have to change your matrix completely and go and align with those companies. You need to find innovative ways that you can align that matrix that matters to you with the existing companies that are creating this new market behavior. And you can create that growth, because not all growth is success. Sometimes you have grown a lot in the last few quarters, and right now you're facing a wall. So that growth was not success because you have not taken the input of the market, because the adaptability is the key. How the market is changing, you need to understand and change. So I'm going to talk about something which is very important, the fourth point, which is the product, the promise market fit, okay? How Lego found its truth, okay? The adult fans of Lego were very keen on their design team. They're beginning to crowdsource new toy kits. They found the opportunity that my fans are the real folks that are out there in the market who were children once upon a time and used to build these amazing products. And they found this interlocking bricks, they can still use it and they can create some great products. And they can create amazing products for their office projects, or just for their recess time, or just also for, for their art projects, okay? So Lego was able to find its truth by finding that community of adult Lego fans. These are adult builders. And that's why they started with the most important word, that is building. Building is so important. And if you have all seen the Lego movie, the focus were all on builders, okay? How the builders are coming and creating products, how the builders are coming and creating towns, but the people who are facilitating that changes, that's the truth of the Lego's newfound fame. And this is what Lego has founded. And somewhere you also need to find that promise market fit. And when I talk about the promise market fit, I would like to give you a little bit backstory of what does that mean. Promise market fit was actually coined by Union Square Ventures VC fund. They talked about promise market fit about something that comes from loyalty and trust that you have built with your consumer. Okay. And this loyalty and trust you have built into the product system architecture because you understand what's your consumer wants, their behavioral economics, and you have tied that to your innovation. Now, these all seems nice, seems pretty fancy, but you'll be wondering what exactly is promise market fit and how that works with my product development. One of the example that I want to give that I come from a fund, which is in the TMT sector, in the sports sector. And I always say, if you're building a technology, what is the best way to find use cases than just come in the sports sector, in the TMT sector? Because you talk about the power of influencers, there lies your sports, your champions, your big fans. The idea is that if you can connect your product with your champions, and if they think it's a product market fit, they can create amazing loyalty of fan base because they already have an existing trust. They already have an existing loyalty base. Why do you think, like, when you watch a TV commercial or one of your favorite celebrity is endorsing a product, and it's like, oh, okay, if Shaq is doing that, or if Jennifer Aniston is telling me to drink smart water, that has to be smart. There should be something smart about that product, about that water, and that may be something I really want. So you are basically tapping into the trust factor that your product did not have, but that particular people who are basically enforcing that, they already had that followers, they already had that base. Okay, so you are tapping that loyalty, that trust factor, and you're tapping that in such a way that you build it into your product system architecture. Now, how did Lego did? Lego did not ask any celebrities like, hey, you go and build, and that's how I'll find my promise market fit. Their loyalty and trust lied all into their adult fan base. This adult fans, they found these fans that they were building amazing products at their basement, as I said, during their recess time or for architecting company architecture. So these are the amazing opportunities that Lego tapped into, that, okay, can I bring those builders, okay, and make them a part of the community? Now it goes back to the decentralized market opportunity that I was talking about. Okay, so this is what Lego did when they were creating the most important element, decentralization of product community, in their crowdsourcing venture and open innovation policy. They're basically asking their consumers, hey, what do you like the most? Taking the feedback and making them most important. In that process, they're building their trust, they're building their loyalty, they're tapping into that. So when you are finding your promise market fit, you need to find that who are your consumers, who are your customers, okay? If you have a B2B product, you need to find, like, okay, if these are my customer base, can I categorize them? And can I take their feedback? What are the loyalty structures that I can build around it? And that would be a part of my product architecture. What are the trust factors that I can build around it? And this all comes with the feedback loop. It's very important to ask, to take feedback. I always find a lot of startup founders, they feel they're in a silo. And I talked about this a lot in all my speeches, in my writings, that if you are a startup, you always feel that you're in a silo, everybody's raising except you. And that is true, because somewhere you are unable to take the feedback of your consumer, of your customer. And instead of feeling in silo, you need to understand, how can you shake hand with your customers, whether they are your clients, a B2B product you have, or a B2C or D2C. And when you shake hand, you are basically asking their feedback. you're empowering your customer, but at the same time, you're asking what are their behavioral choices that you can tie that into your product innovation. And that is very, very important for the promise market fit. And we really talk about the trust and the loyalty factors can be built within the product system architecture, because we always consider loyalty and trust is not a part of our product strategy. And that's where I think we fail as a company, because the moment your consumer or your customers or your clients are using your product, they need to feel excited. They need to feel that they own this, that they have some kind of ownership, that I feel amazing, I'm a part of this, this is creating some values for me. And that's the trust factor that you are building from day one. And the moment you're adding 1,000 features in your product ideas, one day if suppose I like a product A, MySpace and others in olden days or in recent days, there are some products that we have that have gone into completely out of the relevance. So if they have added certain features, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't like this feature. What is this? I don't even understand. And you're basically alienating your product from your consumers. Okay. So whenever you're adding a new feature, and you're considering, okay, this may be a part of my rapid prototyping. This may be a part of an opportunity where I can request my consumers to give me the feedback. Do that, okay? In the rapid prototyping process, as I said before, develop in smaller parts. By developing in smaller parts, not only you require less commitment, but again, you're asking your consumers in the promise market fit that, okay, this is an opportunity for me to take the feedback, understand the economics part of it, and tie that into my innovation. Understand that part. I think that is very important. So this is the entirety of my presentation. Okay, I'm going to talk furthermore about what does it mean in the key elements of decentralization, in the elements of agility, in the elements of interoperability and promise market fit. I will actually release a blog that will talk about more detailed opportunities, especially for companies which are at super early stage. Maybe they are raising angel rounds, and then companies which are in seed rounds to post-seed rounds to Series A. These are the 4 element factors that you can utilize, but there are other factors that you need to understand that you can weave into in these elements in building your product strategy. So keep an eye this weekend on that blog. You can find it on the Medium, and also you can find it on HackerNoon. And I will also publish through my Twitter account at GAs_VC activist. So you can find that information about me. So yeah, that's all from my end.